Want to gamble with your employees' money? Enjoy losing your IT department too. When I was hired as the IT director at a small brokerage firm, I knew I wasn't the most qualified person for the job. They knew it too. That's exactly why they hired me. I was young, eager, and cheap. They figured I'd do everything for half the cost of a real director. Still, it was $10,000 more than I'd ever made before, and I needed the title for my resume. The company was small, 5 employees, 4 partners, and over 70 brokers who rented desks for a cut of their commissions. Brokers weren't really employees, so the partners didn't care how many came and went. The place ran on chaos, long hours, and bad management. Everyone was underpaid except the partners' friends. When I joined, the technology was a decade out of date. I spent months fixing it. I replaced the broken servers, upgraded the network, got redundant ISPs, and moved our email to a cloud host so it would finally stay online. I documented every process, set up a proper backup system, and even wrote a detailed downtime plan in case something went wrong. The brokers were thrilled. The employees loved it. Even the partners seemed impressed, at least at first. But the partners weren't just bad bosses. They were shady. One would regularly borrow money from broker commissions to fund gambling trips to Vegas. When he lost, he'd tell the brokers their checks were delayed due to a banking issue. Another partner had me drive to his house after hours to set up a sound system and told me not to clock in. One even asked me how to hide messages from his wife. Still, I tried to stay out of their mess. I just wanted to keep the systems running and build experience. Then they started asking me to do strange things, like open employee email boxes and search for messages between brokers and their clients. I didn't realize it at the time, but that was completely illegal. They were reading privileged messages so they could fire brokers and steal their clients. It became routine. I hated it, but I was young and unsure of what I could refuse. Not long after, they convinced a small lending firm to merge with us. The lending team was the complete opposite. Honest, friendly, and actually cared about customers. I got close with one of their agents, a genuinely good guy who helped me look for houses during lunch breaks. His wife and her father ran the lending company, and they treated me like an equal, not a tool. Then one afternoon, everything changed. I was running another one of those email searches, this time on one of the partners, and there it was. Their plan to fire the entire lending firm over the weekend, lock them out of their offices, and keep the name and client list. Right below that, a note about me. Once everything was stable, they were going to let me go too. That was all I needed to see. In my filing cabinet, I had what I called the red folder. Inside were the admin passwords to every system we had, servers, routers, backups, everything. It also contained the disaster recovery plans, network maps, and every critical configuration. No one else knew exactly how it all fit together, and the partners never cared enough to learn. I called my friend from the lending firm and told him what I discovered. I warned him that they planned to change the locks over the weekend. I told him to get to the office, grab his company's computers and files, and get out. They technically owned that equipment anyway. I also told him I'd be resigning soon, and that he didn't hear any of this from me. He thanked me quietly and said he understood. That night, I changed the only other admin password the partners had access to. Then, I shredded the red folder. Every password, every diagram, gone. The next morning, I sent a short resignation email, thanking them for the opportunity and saying I'd accepted a new role. Within an hour, the partners were calling nonstop. They begged me to come back. They said they were shocked at my disloyalty. They even offered me a 30% raise. I didn't answer a single message. A few months later, I ran into the old secretary at a coffee shop. She laughed when she saw me and said, "You have no idea what you did to them." Apparently, it took 4 months for the firm to get everything running again. They had to bring in outside contractors just to reset the systems and recover access. It cost them about a year's worth of my salary. The lending firm rebranded under a new name and took most of their clients with them once word got around. The brokerage never fully recovered. The partners fought, the brokers left, and eventually, the company folded. I didn't have to do much. Just walk away and let their own greed pull the plug.